Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into a fascinating and essential topic: mastering body language and interrogation strategies in the workplace. We'll explore how understanding these skills can significantly enhance communication, build trust, and help resolve conflicts effectively across different cultures and roles. I'm excited to share insights that will empower you to navigate workplace interactions with greater confidence and success. Let's get started. In this course, we'll dive into the subtle art of reading body language, which plays a crucial role in how we communicate in the workplace. You'll learn to pick up on those nonverbal signals during meetings and everyday interactions, helping you to understand others better and respond more effectively. The program is designed by Dr. Jawad Sebaali, who brings a wealth of knowledge and practical experience to the table. His methods focus on real-world applications, making sure the techniques you learn can be used immediately to improve your communication and build stronger relationships at work. What's great about this training is that it's relevant no matter your role. Whether you're on the front line or in a leadership position, these skills will help you interpret unspoken messages accurately and react professionally, making your interactions smoother and more productive. On this slide, we focus on three main learning objectives that will guide us through the session. First, we'll work on understanding body language signals. This means identifying key nonverbal cues you often see in workplace interactions and learning how to interpret them effectively to make your communication clearer and more precise. Next, we'll dive into developing effective interrogation skills. These are techniques that help you uncover truthful information while maintaining control and professionalism, which is crucial in delicate or sensitive conversations. Finally, we'll look at enhancing overall workplace communication. This benefits everyone, no matter their role, by improving negotiation skills and making interrogation processes more competent and efficient. Together, these objectives will strengthen your ability to interact and communicate confidently in professional settings. When we talk about body language, we're referring to all the physical movements, facial expressions, and postures that communicate messages without using words. It's a powerful form of nonverbal communication that often reveals more than spoken language alone. In the workplace, being able to read these cues helps us understand what people really mean, beyond their verbal responses. Nonverbal signals are crucial because they shape how we interact and build relationships with colleagues and clients. By grasping the basic principles behind body language, we can better analyze emotions and intentions, making our interpretations more accurate. Ultimately, this understanding enables us to connect on a deeper level, improving rapport and fostering stronger, more effective professional relationships. When we talk about the core elements of body language, the first thing to consider is facial expressions. Our faces can reveal so much more than words ever could. They reflect genuine emotions and feelings, making them incredibly powerful in communication. Next, eye contact plays a vital role. Maintaining direct eye contact usually signals honesty and openness, helping us gauge someone's true intentions without them saying a word. Then, we have hand gestures. These aren't just random movements, they emphasize what we're saying and convey energy and commitment, adding a dynamic layer to our messages. Body posture is another essential aspect. The way someone stands or sits can communicate confidence or hesitance, openness or reservation, often telling us more about their state of mind than their speech. Finally, understanding and mastering these elements isn't just useful socially, it's crucial in professional settings. Being able to read these nonverbal cues helps us assess how ready or comfortable our colleagues are, allowing us to engage more effectively and make better decisions. Nonverbal signals play a crucial role in how we communicate at work. Positive signals, like a genuine smile, can boost morale and help build stronger relationships among colleagues. When we learn to accurately interpret these positive cues, it leads to clearer communication and a more harmonious work environment. On the other hand, negative signals such as crossing arms or hunching over often show signs of dissatisfaction or anxiety. Being aware of these indicators allows us to address stress and improve the way we interact with others, creating a healthier workplace overall. Understanding both positive and negative nonverbal messages is key to fostering effective communication and stronger teamwork. When we talk about body language in the workplace, it's important to remember that cultural norms really shape how people express themselves professionally. Everyone brings their own cultural background into the work environment, and this influences their nonverbal cues. For example, a gesture or facial expression that seems friendly in one culture might be interpreted differently in another. This diversity can sometimes lead to misunderstandings if we're not aware of these differences. That's why being mindful of how body language varies across cultures is crucial. By understanding these variations, we can avoid unnecessary tensions and misinterpretations. This awareness also plays a significant role when it comes to negotiation. Knowing the cultural context behind certain gestures can help us communicate more effectively and tailor our approach to different audiences. Finally, recognizing and respecting these cultural differences in body language fosters a workplace environment where mutual respect and cooperation thrive. When we appreciate how diverse nonverbal communication styles are, we build stronger connections and a more inclusive atmosphere for everyone. Interrogation in the workplace is essentially a deliberate and structured process aimed at gathering accurate and reliable information. The goal is to clarify facts, solve problems, or evaluate performance in a clear and objective manner. When we talk about its purpose in a work environment, interrogation helps us analyze and address issues like conflicts between employees, misunderstandings that could affect teamwork, or even assessments of an individual's performance. To conduct an effective interrogation, certain skills are essential. It's not just about asking questions, but asking them in a way that encourages honesty without making the person feel defensive or hostile. This requires a thoughtful approach and emotional intelligence. Another key aspect is understanding body language. Being able to read nonverbal cues lets you gauge whether someone is being truthful or hiding something, which is crucial in getting to the root of issues. Overall, having a solid grasp of interrogation techniques is incredibly important. It equips us with the ability to handle workplace challenges smoothly and professionally, ensuring that problems are resolved with clarity and respect. When conducting an interrogation, the first step is to create a safe and comfortable environment. This sets the tone by making the subject feel at ease, which is crucial for building trust and encouraging openness. Next, using open-ended questions is very effective because it invites the person to share more detailed information rather than giving simple yes or no answers. It's also important to pay close attention to body language. Nonverbal cues can reveal a lot about how someone is feeling and highlight areas that might need further probing. Finally, combining all these techniques, creating a supportive setting, asking open questions, and reading body language, helps to not only gather valuable information, but also maintain a positive and professional interaction throughout the process. When it comes to reading body language during an interrogation, the first key step is recognizing nonverbal signals. These cues give us valuable insight into a person's emotional state and any changes in their behavior. For example, subtle signs can reveal feelings like anxiety or even attempts to hide information. Next, we need to identify indicators of discomfort. Actions like frequently touching the nose or covering the mouth are practical signs someone might be feeling uneasy. These behaviors often point to truth suppression or internal tension, which are critical to notice. Understanding these signals allows us to adjust our interrogation techniques in real time. By picking up on these behavioral cues, we can modify our questions or change the tone of the conversation to help break down barriers and encourage cooperation. Finally, effectively interpreting body language helps improve the overall outcome of the interrogation. When we create an environment where open and honest communication is more likely, the chances of gathering accurate and useful information increase significantly. This approach ultimately leads to more successful results. When managing stress and anxiety during an interrogation, the first step is recognizing the signs of stress in yourself. This could be excessive sweating, trembling, or even numbness in your hands. These are important signals that you need to regain control. Next, it's crucial to maintain a steady vocal tone and keep your composure, as this helps prevent the situation from becoming more tense or confrontational. Deep breathing techniques are incredibly effective here. By focusing on your breath, you can manage your stress levels and stay calm under pressure. Confidence is also key. You want to develop the ability to guide conversations smoothly, which helps reduce resistance and keeps the interrogation on track. Finally, by handling the situation calmly and avoiding emotional escalation, you create an environment where responses are more reliable and honest, making the process much more effective overall. Credibility is truly the cornerstone of successful body language reading, especially during interrogations. When someone is credible, it builds a solid foundation for accurate interpretation and effective communication. One key indicator of truthfulness is consistency. When what a person says matches their facial expressions, it's a strong signal they're being honest. On the other hand, if there are contradictions between their words and their expressions, it often points to deception or distortion. To improve our communication and protect our interests, it's essential to critically assess these verbal and nonverbal cues. Developing this skill allows us to make more informed judgments and enhances the overall quality of our interactions. When someone is lying, their body often gives away clues through visual and motor changes. These might include avoiding eye contact, touching their face more frequently, or pausing suddenly while speaking. Recognizing these signs can be incredibly useful. By being aware of these physiological markers, we can improve our ability to detect when someone might not be truthful. Observing these indicators carefully provides valuable insights that can enhance our assessments beyond just listening to words. Training plays a crucial role here. With focused practice, individuals can sharpen their skills in spotting these subtle biological signs. Systematic observation during training helps build consistency and reliability, making the detection process more accurate. Finally, applying this knowledge in investigative contexts allows us to gather supportive evidence rather than relying on mere assumptions. It brings a structured, evidence-based approach to interrogations, which strengthens the overall investigation process. When it comes to reading body language, there are several common barriers that can make accurate interpretation challenging. First, it's important to understand personal bias. Our own experiences and viewpoints can sometimes distort how we perceive others' nonverbal cues, so being aware of this helps us avoid jumping to wrong conclusions. Next, recognizing cultural differences is crucial because body language can vary widely across cultures. What means one thing in one culture might mean something completely different in another, so adapting our interpretations is key. Another major point is avoiding misinterpretations. Body language doesn't exist in a vacuum, so considering the context is essential. Making assumptions about specific gestures without the bigger picture can lead to misunderstandings. To overcome this, developing verification strategies comes into play. This means finding ways to confirm what we observe before drawing conclusions on someone's behavior, ensuring our interpretations are more accurate. Lastly, practical skill refinement is about continuously using examples and real-life situations to improve our ability to read body language effectively. Practicing and refining these skills helps build confidence and precision in interpreting nonverbal signals. Together, these approaches can significantly enhance how we understand and respond to body language. Body language plays a crucial role in enhancing verbal communication rather than replacing it. It helps shape how the message is received and understood by others. When what we say matches our body language, it boosts our credibility and makes our communication more convincing. On the other hand, if there's a mismatch between speech and physical cues, it can create confusion or doubt. That's why developing the skills to synchronize these two forms of communication is so important. When verbal and nonverbal signals work together smoothly, they reinforce each other, making your message clearer and more impactful, especially in a workplace setting. Ultimately, this harmony boosts your influence and helps others engage with your ideas more effectively. When managers and leaders develop strong body language reading skills, they gain the ability to sense subtle mood shifts within their teams. This means they can recognize signs of stress or fatigue early on and step in before these issues escalate into bigger problems. Another crucial benefit is the ability to assess sincerity during feedback sessions. By picking up on nonverbal cues, managers can better understand whether reports or feedback are genuine, which helps in making more informed decisions. Additionally, these skills empower leaders to handle challenges wisely, ultimately strengthening their professional relationships. When leaders are attuned to their team's unspoken messages, it creates a more transparent and open workplace environment, fostering trust and collaboration. Finally, practical guidance in body language reading not only enhances a leader's presence, but also grounds their decision-making in strong nonverbal intelligence, making their leadership more effective and impactful. When we talk about the physical environment and its impact on body language, the first key point is understanding lighting conditions. Good lighting is essential because it affects how comfortable people feel and how easily they can see each other, which directly influences communication. We want lighting that's neither too harsh nor too dim, creating a comfortable atmosphere that supports clear and open interaction. Next, let's consider space arrangement. How a space is organized can either encourage openness or create feelings of confinement. By designing spaces that allow for freedom of movement and reduce crowding, we make it easier for people to express themselves naturally and engage more freely. Privacy is another crucial factor. When people feel their conversation is private and free from interruptions or distractions, they're more likely to trust the interaction and communicate honestly. So, it's important to identify and establish privacy in the environment to foster this trust. Finally, reducing discomfort plays a big role. Physical discomfort can cause tense or closed-off body language. By minimizing sources of unease, like uncomfortable seating or disruptive noises, we help create a setting where people can relax and express themselves in a more natural, open way. All these elements combined greatly influence how body language is used and interpreted. When we observe body language during meetings, we can learn a lot about how participants are feeling and interacting. For example, someone leaning forward often shows they're engaged and interested, while fidgeting might suggest nervousness or discomfort. These subtle signals give us clues about their attitude and willingness to contribute. By looking at real-world scenarios, we see how these non-verbal behaviors influence the flow of discussions in a workplace. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for managing teams effectively because it helps us respond appropriately to unspoken messages. Paying attention to body language can also help guide conversations in a more productive direction. When we pick up on these cues, we can address concerns or encourage participation, which ultimately leads to better cooperation and collaboration among team members. Finally, interpreting these nonverbal signals plays a key role in achieving the desired outcomes of meetings. Applying this knowledge helps ensure interactions are more productive and that the group stays focused on meeting its goals. When we talk about the relationship between stress and interrogation methods, it's important to understand that stress has a direct impact on how people respond, both verbally and through their body language. Recognizing these stress indicators is crucial because it helps us tailor our approach accordingly. By detecting subtle signs of stress, we can adjust our techniques to reduce the pressure on the interviewee, which in turn lowers their resistance. This creates a more comfortable environment, making it easier for them to open up. Ultimately, managing stress effectively leads to more honest and accurate information, which is the goal of any interrogation. When dealing with conflict in the workplace, the first thing to understand is that conflict is a natural and inevitable part of any work environment. Recognizing that disagreements and tensions will happen allows us to approach these situations with a mindset geared toward resolution rather than avoidance. Next, using deliberate interrogation strategies is crucial. By asking purposeful, structured questions, we can get to the root causes of the conflict instead of just skimming the surface. It's not just about what is said. Integrating the reading of body language plays a key role too. Nonverbal cues often reveal feelings and concerns that might not be expressed openly, giving us deeper insight. Finally, it's essential to maintain respect for everyone involved. Ensuring that conversations honor individual dignity helps preserve important working relationships and supports a constructive outcome that benefits the entire team. When it comes to building trust during an interrogation, body language plays a crucial role. First, maintaining sustained eye contact is key. It shows that you are fully attentive and sincere, helping to create a genuine connection. Eye contact signals openness and can make the other person feel valued and understood. Next, using an open and relaxed posture is important for creating a safe environment. When your body language is non-threatening, it encourages honesty and openness from the participant. It's essential to avoid any gestures or postures that might seem confrontational or closed off, as these can cause defensiveness. Finally, consciously applying positive nonverbal signals like friendly facial expressions and nodding can make a big difference. These cues show empathy and understanding, fostering a more productive and revealing dialogue. Together, these body language strategies help build trust and make the interaction more effective. One common mistake during interrogations is interrupting the person being questioned. When we cut someone off, it can disrupt their train of thought and make them feel uncomfortable, often leading to incomplete or inaccurate answers. Another key error is imposing our own biases as interviewers. When we let our opinions or assumptions influence the process, The interviewee might tailor their responses to what they think we want to hear, which compromises the investigation's integrity. It's also crucial not to overlook nonverbal signals. Paying attention to body language, facial expressions, and eye movements can provide valuable clues about someone's true feelings or inconsistencies in their story that words alone might not reveal. Alongside this, exercising patience and maintaining neutrality is essential. Rushing someone or showing judgment can pressure them, potentially skewing their answers. Lastly, developing strong observational skills is vital. Being able to accurately interpret both verbal and nonverbal communication greatly improves the quality and reliability of the information we gather during an interrogation. Now we'll explore two real-world case studies from different workplace environments. These examples give us clear, factual insights into how reading body language and using interrogation strategies work in practice. By examining these cases, we can see both the benefits and challenges organizations face when applying these methods. They show us how these techniques help improve communication and support effective information gathering. Importantly, these scenarios connect what we've learned in theory with real-life situations, highlighting how context affects outcomes and offering practical lessons that we can apply in our own experiences. In this case study, BP enhanced their safety investigations by introducing body language techniques to better understand operator gestures and facial expressions during interrogations. This approach focused on identifying behavioral indicators such as hesitation, stress, or any signs someone might be withholding information, which can be critical during accident investigations. Instead of sticking to rigid formal questioning, BP adopted a more conversational style, making the process feel less confrontational and encouraging employees to be more open. As a result, they saw a noticeable reduction in workplace accidents and employees became more forthcoming during safety discussions. Overall, this strategy highlights the importance of blending behavioral observation with interrogation methods to effectively promote a safer work environment. Samsung has taken an innovative approach by incorporating body language training into their performance review process. Their reviewers learn to pay close attention to subtle nonverbal cues, like microexpressions and small hand movements, which often reveal feelings of anxiety or discomfort that might not be verbally expressed. By recognizing these signals, interviewers can adjust their tone and the way they ask questions, helping to create a more open and comfortable atmosphere. This heightened awareness not only makes the performance evaluations more accurate, but also helps build stronger trust and communication between managers and employees. Overall, Samsung's initiative clearly demonstrates how understanding body language can lead to better performance reviews and healthier workplace relationships. In these case studies, we clearly see how vital it is to accurately read body language during interrogations. By understanding these nonverbal signals, we can apply practical strategies that significantly improve communication outcomes. For example, BP focused on building conversational trust among employees, which not only increased openness, but also contributed to reducing workplace accidents through better communication and awareness. Samsung took a different approach by paying close attention to nonverbal cues during performance reviews. This helped them identify and ease employee anxiety, leading to more accurate assessments and stronger relationships between employees and their assessors. From all these examples, several key principles emerge. Establishing trust is crucial to lowering resistance. The interviewer's tone and approach greatly affect how receptive the interviewee will be, and continuously observing subtle behavioral signals allows for real-time adjustments that improve the interaction. Combining interpersonal sensitivity with structured observation techniques creates a solid framework that organizations can use to enhance the effectiveness of their interviews and interrogations, ultimately leading to better results across the board. To effectively implement interrogation and body language skills, the first step is to define clear objectives. These goals should be specific and aligned with your workplace communication needs and investigative priorities, ensuring everyone understands what success looks like. Next, design targeted training programs that combine both theory and hands-on practice. Incorporate applied exercises along with constructive feedback so participants can learn actively and refine their techniques. It's equally important to implement continuous assessment by monitoring how questioning methods and behavioral analysis are applied in real situations. This helps maintain consistency and effectiveness over time. Additionally, schedule regular refresher sessions to reinforce skills, and keep everyone updated with the latest methods and trends. Finally, foster an environment that supports ongoing learning, where team members feel encouraged to develop and apply their skills continuously. This supportive culture is crucial for sustained improvement and practical application in day-to-day work. When evaluating how effective body language reading and interrogation training has been, there are several key metrics we can look at. First, employee satisfaction surveys are valuable. They help us understand whether people feel communication and interpersonal understanding have improved in the workplace. Next, tracking workplace conflicts is crucial. If we see a drop in conflicts or miscommunications after training, that's a strong sign the techniques are working. Another important measure is the clarity of information during meetings or interviews. When communication becomes clearer and more complete, it shows qualitative progress. Additionally, we can look at quantitative data like reductions in errors, accident rates, or employee turnover that are related to communication issues. These numbers provide solid proof of success. Lastly, by using all these different metrics together, organizations can continuously assess how well individuals are applying what they've learned and identify where further development may be needed. This ongoing evaluation ensures that the benefits of the training continue to grow over time. When it comes to monitoring body language, modern tools play a crucial role in enhancing our analysis. These tools provide objective data that can significantly improve interrogation strategies, making them more precise and consistent. However, it's important to remember that while these technologies support our understanding, they don't replace human judgment. They're here to complement it. One standout example is facial recognition software paired with analytical cameras. This technology can detect microexpressions, those subtle facial movements that often go unnoticed by the human eye, giving us deeper insights into someone's true emotions. Together, these tools add a powerful layer to body language monitoring, enabling more accurate and effective interpretations. When training investigators and administrators on advanced interrogation skills, the first crucial step is enhancing listening skills. This means focusing on detecting any inconsistencies that arise during interrogations and sharpening the ability to pick up on subtle verbal indicators that might otherwise go unnoticed. Next, we emphasize learning analytical techniques. Trainees are guided to accurately interpret both verbal and nonverbal cues, while also developing systematic methods to analyze all the information they gather in a structured and efficient way. Moving on to mastering dialogue management, it's important to practice controlling conversations in a professional manner. The goal here is to maintain the effectiveness of the interrogation by keeping the dialogue constructive, ensuring it doesn't escalate into hostility or discomfort. Ethical and cultural sensitivity plays a vital role as well. We make sure that all interviews adhere strictly to ethical principles, and equally important, we provide training on cultural awareness to reduce the risk of misunderstandings that could compromise the process. Finally, building expertise through scenarios is essential. Role-playing exercises simulate real-world situations, allowing trainees to apply their skills practically. Continuous feedback and ongoing evaluations further help refine their abilities and ensure continuous improvement. When we look at body language in job interviews, there are some clear indicators that can tell us a lot about a candidate. For instance, candidates who maintain steady eye contact and use controlled, purposeful gestures often come across as confident and self-assured. On the other hand, signs of nervousness or hesitation might show up as a shaky voice or fleeting glances away from the interviewer, which can signal discomfort or uncertainty. Another key aspect is paying attention to vocal variations. Changes in tone can reveal underlying emotions or, in some cases, hint that a candidate might be holding back information. By combining these observations with what the candidate actually says, interviewers can get a fuller picture of their sincerity and how well they might fit the role. Finally, subtle cues, those small, easy-to-miss signals, can be incredibly important. Real-life examples show us that tuning into these nuances can provide valuable context, helping hiring managers make more informed and confident decisions. This holistic approach really strengthens the overall assessment process. When reading body language during an interrogation, it's important to avoid jumping to impulsive conclusions based on just one gesture. People express themselves differently, and a single movement might not mean the same thing for everyone. You also need to take into account individual differences. Things like personality, cultural background, and the specific situation can all influence nonverbal behavior. Misinterpreting these cues can lead to errors. Instead of relying on isolated signals, gather multiple indicators over time to get a clearer, more accurate picture. And finally, always check if your observations align with what the person is actually saying. Verbal statements provide essential context that can either confirm or challenge what their body language suggests. When handling psychological resistance during an interrogation, the first step is to recognize the signs. Pay close attention to defensive postures, prolonged silence, or any visible discomfort, as these often indicate resistance. It's important to remember that this resistance usually comes from feelings of intimidation or pressure, not necessarily from guilt. To counter this, establishing a non-confrontational environment is crucial. Use open body language, like keeping your arms uncrossed and leaning slightly forward, to show that you're approachable. Creating a welcoming atmosphere helps reduce intimidation and makes the person more willing to communicate. Demonstrating empathy plays a vital role here as well. Really listen to what the interviewee is saying, trying to understand their perspective without judgment. Showing genuine empathy helps build trust and lowers psychological barriers, making it easier for them to open up. Incorporating permission-based questioning is another effective technique. Before asking sensitive or potentially uncomfortable questions, ask for permission. This small step gives control back to the interviewee and can make them feel respected. Also, don't rush the conversation. Allow pauses so they can process and respond without feeling overwhelmed. Finally, focus on building rapport throughout the interaction. Use strategies that foster trust and understanding, which encourages fuller disclosure. The better the rapport, the more likely you are to gather high-quality, reliable information. Misreading body language can seriously affect the outcome of an interrogation. First, it's important to recognize how misjudging nonverbal cues can distort the entire process. For example, mistaking nervousness for deception can lead to miscommunication and a breakdown of trust between interviewer and subject. Next, these errors don't just cause confusion, they can escalate conflicts or push the interrogation toward false conclusions, disrupting the flow of communication and making effective decision-making much harder. To counter this, rigorous training in observational skills is essential. Understanding and accurately interpreting nonverbal signals requires more than just intuition. It demands a solid foundation built through focused learning. Finally, continuous practice and regular feedback are key to honing these skills. By committing to ongoing development, interrogators can improve their proficiency in reading body language, which ultimately leads to more reliable and successful interrogation outcomes. Modern technology has significantly transformed the way we approach interrogation skills. For instance, artificial intelligence allows us to process vast amounts of data quickly, helping us detect subtle patterns in behavior that might otherwise go unnoticed. AI algorithms are particularly skilled at identifying inconsistencies in speech and recognizing microexpressions related to stress, which can be crucial indicators during an interrogation. However, technology alone isn't enough. The real power comes from combining these tools with human expertise. Technology is meant to support and enhance human judgment, not replace it. By integrating these insights, we can refine our interrogation techniques, gaining new perspectives that boost our confidence in the conclusions we draw. At the same time, it's essential to implement these technologies responsibly, with strong ethical considerations to ensure that their use is both effective and respectful. This balance helps us maximize the benefits while safeguarding the integrity of the interrogation process. In multicultural workplaces, it's important to recognize that the same gesture can mean very different things depending on cultural background. This means we need to be culturally aware to avoid misinterpretations. Behaviors that feel natural in one culture might not exist or could even be seen as offensive in another, so understanding these contrasts is key to correctly reading intentions. For example, direct eye contact is valued and seen as confident in some cultures, but in others, it might be viewed as disrespectful or confrontational. Developing cultural competence helps us navigate these differences more effectively, allowing us to decode nonverbal cues accurately and promote mutual respect. Ultimately, when we make the effort to understand these cultural nuances, we can harness diversity to enhance team dynamics and create a more cohesive, stronger workplace environment. When it comes to developing strong interrogation skills, specialized training courses play a crucial role. These are offered by various institutions and training centers, focusing on enhancing both interrogation techniques and the ability to read body language effectively. Beyond initial training, continuous learning is vital. Workshops, webinars, and peer discussion groups provide ongoing opportunities to reinforce and sharpen these skills over time. Importantly, the best programs integrate both theory and practice. They combine solid theoretical foundations with hands-on exercises, often including certification to validate your proficiency. Another key benefit is access to expert coaching and networking opportunities, connecting you with experienced professionals in the field. Ultimately, engaging with these support and development services fosters continuous professional growth, helping you stay up to date with the latest methodologies and best practices in interrogation. When working in Middle Eastern and African workplaces, one of the most important lessons is the need to adapt to local social customs. Understanding these customs helps us navigate interviews and interactions more effectively, showing respect and building rapport. Another key point is the role of indirect communication. Many communities in this region rely on high-context communication, meaning that a lot is conveyed through subtlety and context rather than direct statements. This requires us to listen carefully and read between the lines. It's also crucial to use culturally appropriate questioning. Having a solid cultural understanding allows interviewers to frame questions in ways that foster trust and promote open collaboration. Finally, being aware of hierarchical and communal dynamics helps us overcome barriers in communication. Recognizing these structures allows for smoother interactions and encourages more honest, meaningful responses. These lessons together improve our ability to connect and work effectively in these diverse environments. The field of interrogation is changing rapidly thanks to new technological advancements. We're seeing digitally generated evidence being used much more alongside traditional techniques, which is transforming how information is gathered. At the same time, behavioral data analytics and real-time monitoring are becoming key tools. These approaches provide deeper insights into how individuals respond during interrogations, making the process more precise and effective. There's also a growing trend toward hybrid models that blend human intuition with data science. This combination leverages the strengths of both to improve outcomes in interrogation practices. Another important focus is on emotional intelligence and ethics. Around the world, training programs are placing greater emphasis on understanding emotions and maintaining ethical standards, ensuring that interrogations are conducted responsibly. Finally, staying current with global trends is essential for professionals. Aligning with international standards helps refine competencies and keeps practitioners at the top of their field. When it comes to reading body language and applying interrogation techniques, the first and perhaps most important point is the need for attentive observation. It's crucial to develop a sharp eye for nonverbal signals because these cues often reveal more than words ever could. By paying close attention to subtle gestures, facial expressions, and posture changes, we gain valuable insights into a person's true feelings and intentions. This kind of observation requires practice and focus, but mastering it significantly enhances our ability to interpret what's really going on beneath the surface. For this presentation, we drew on several important sources to ensure a well-rounded perspective on nonverbal communication in the workplace. First, we relied heavily on Joe Navarro's book, Body Language at Work, which offers deep insights into reading and using body language effectively at work. We also incorporated findings from peer-reviewed studies published in the Journal of Applied Psychology, which helped shape our understanding of how body language impacts workplace interactions. Additionally, reports from the International Labour Organization provided valuable regional perspectives, especially relevant for understanding diverse work environments. To further enrich the content, we included research and professional development studies from Middle Eastern and African institutions, highlighting local nuances. Finally, it's important to note that there are still significant gaps in Arabic language research on this subject, pointing to an area that needs more focused exploration going forward. Thank you all for your time and attention. I appreciate the opportunity to share this information with you today. If you have any questions or would like to discuss anything further, please feel free to reach out.